right, so we're going to talk about the producer position now. Now, again, you notice the producer has on their comms some additional controls. They can shut everybody up by pressing this button and talking. They can unlatch anybody who's latched by pressing that button, so on and so forth. Now, a couple things to look at. The producer role, let's just first talk about what their job is. Their job is to make sure everything works right and nothing is forgotten. So we start videos on time, the producer calls that. All right, start the video, just like that. Make sure lower thirds happen when you have one of our staff that's on stage, especially the first time they come up. We want to try to get them ID'd using lower third. The producer controls the lower thirds using this computer and a version of ProPresenter, their CPU 9. The producer also makes sure that, oddly enough, live stream producer, the streaming software that we use is up and running and fired off and all that stuff functions. Now again, our staff will try to have all this stuff function checked and working before you come in, but ultimately it's the producer's job to make sure it happens. And also not to miss things like when they roll the videos, and not just to miss it, but to get in the habit of calling it. The person that runs in these different positions may be used to doing what they're supposed to do, but you still want to call it. And a lot of times you want to count down if you can. All right, roll video in 3, 2, 1, roll video, things like that. So the producer will call those kind of shots. The producer also is mindful of what's happening in worship, was mindful of what's happening on stage, and prepares shots. Whereas the technical director or switcher is focused on getting the next shot or getting the shots. The producer is focused more on the bigger picture and making sure that the overall is looking good and functioning well. So let's talk about how that's going to happen, the way that works. If you look down here at these monitors in front of you, you have a multi-view screen here. It's not as big, obviously, as the one for the switcher, but you can get a general sense of where things are and what's in program and what they're trying to do on the camera side. But you can also help set up shots using this. So you'll use that as your point of reference as often as you need to. You'll also bring in lower thirds. Now, the switcher position generally should have DSK1 engaged all times, so when it's time to bring in a lower third, you can just tap it, and you might just say standby for lower third, and then it comes in 3 seconds into it's a video, it's 10 seconds long, or excuse me, 8 seconds long. It comes in after 3, it goes out after, it stays up for 5 seconds. So you can count it in, you press it, and you can say lower third in 3, 2, 1, boom, there's the lower third, and you can cover that. Anyway, so that's the bulk of what happens here. You can use this computer to do all that. Also, if you have an issue with anything, if something's broken or not working correctly, then you can get with me, Gavin, or Grace to solve that problem. So that's basically the big picture. Also, you'll hit record. Over here are record decks. This changes from time to time. I'm going to show you where we're at on this. Input, I don't know if you'll be able to see the screen or not, but up here it's going to show an input as you toggle through SDI plus SDI, that's SDI plus XLR, so on and so forth, HDMI plus HDMI. Currently, we are set up as SDI and SDI. That's audio and video, that's what the two things are. And so you make sure that input's good. A good way of checking it is if you see program and you see bouncing audio during rehearsal, then you'll be set. So we put a hard drive in, one of these guys goes in these bays, it'll be here when you get there, and you just hit record. You hit record at 5 minutes till. And then down here is the audio deck, same thing, you'll hit record. We don't have a disc in here, so it may not work right, but you hit record, and then when it's time to start recording on this one, you hit play. These don't have any names on them, so the circle is record, by the way. So you hit record, and then you just stop in between services. The way we have it laid out right now, we start streaming 10 minutes before service starts, and 5 minutes before service starts, we hit record on all these decks. So that would be your job as the producer. And you would answer directly to me or Gavin on any kind of, I say answer to, we answer you on any questions you have on what we need to do differently or whatever. Things like that, philosophy, whatever. So there you go, that's the bulk of what the producer position is. And if you want to volunteer for that position, you can, but you have to be approved because you have to go through a process for that position. And that main process is talking to me and Gavin and putting up with our junk. So, thanks. Bye.